Now, we really haven't talked about Switch 2 in a while, and I know a lot of you guys are probably happy because of the fact that we haven't talked about it, because it's just so much information had been pouring out, but it's been pretty quiet throughout the entire month of April. But as we get to the end of the month of April and about to jump into May, lots of more information is coming out, and today there's been tons of information about this new upcoming console, and including a piece of information that literally made me laugh out loud how ridiculous it sounds, but yet it probably is true because based on Nintendo's history. But we're about to dive into this new information. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Nintendo, and let's dive into these rumors. So first off, the source comes from Video Games Chronicle, but apparently this Switch is going to be larger than the current Switch, which of course, I mean, that's something that we all expected. Bigger with, better graphics, more storage, obviously it's going to be a bigger component. The Joy-Cons are going to be magnetic. Now, interesting enough, the Joy-Con magnetic thing was actually, I think, planned for the original Switch, and they just couldn't figure out the technology for it and how it would work. It seems like they got it down now. That actually would be a lot better than just having to slide it in and stuff. You could just boop boop pop them on, which would be really cool. Yeah, there's chargers out there right now with like phones and iPhone chargers that you just magnetically slap your phone on. So I think that would be awesome. Switch Pro controller is supported. That makes sense. I'd expect even probably the old Joy-Con be supported in some way. The controller, yeah, the Pro controller probably for the new console is going to look very similar to this one, so I could see the old controller working as well, but this one is the part that made me laugh so hard. So, accessory manufacturers have touched the new system, but not actually looked at it. This is the craziest claim ever, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, this is just not true. That doesn't even make sense. It's so weird, and it's so random, and it's so stupidly crazy that I feel like it's true. Nintendo is weird. We know this. Does this not sound like something Nintendo would actually do if it came down to it? Like, Nintendo's just strange where they don't want people to see the console, so they're like, here, get a feel for what it's going to be like. These are accessory manufacturers. How does that even help somebody make an accessory for the Switch 2 or whatever this new Switch is going to be called? Like, what are they supposed to do off of that information of how the new console feels in their hands? This is the craziest thing ever. I don't get it. Maybe it's just because Nintendo's getting ready to reveal the thing, so they're like, here, you could just get a first-hand feel of what it's going to feel like. The craziest thing. I'm telling you, Nintendo, I really want to believe this isn't real because this is just bonkers. And we have a little bit more information from Vandal going a little deeper, saying that there's going to be magnetic side controllers / Joy-Con compared to rail system, which we just talked about, just snapping on with magnets. The console is bigger than the current Switch, but smaller than a Steam Deck. So yeah, it's going to be right in between, just probably a little bit bigger than the current Switch, which seems to be about right. The current Pro controller is compatible. We talked about that. It's still aiming for Q1 of 2025 release, and apparently this was to bolster the lineup. And we talked about that before, and I'm actually going to save this for the end of the video. I'm going to, circle back to that in a second. But it also supports DLSS system. Now, if you don't know what DLSS stands for, it's a little deep, but I'm going to kind of summarize it really quickly for you. It's deep learning super sampling technology. So this pretty much is powered by AI, and it allows the game to use AI to, tune the graphics up a bit. Like, it takes AI to scan the environments and everything, and gives you an image based on that. It's very advanced wording for a way for it to learn and generate good graphics for you. So it's just like an algorithm for graphics from NVIDIA. So yeah, just some techno stuff to make the games look better. Good graphics. And we get even more information coming in from the Korean business newspaper, where it says Samsung appears to be the big winner on a number of components for the system, which is pretty interesting. Lots of Samsung components in your Switch. But here are the stats. It says the NVIDIA Tegra T239 will be manufactured by Samsung using their 7LPH process. Once again, lots of big fancy tech talk. I can't really explain all that. But Samsung 5th generation VNAND will be used both for internal storage and game cards, and then Samsung also will provide the displays, but no specific type of technology, whether it's going to be LCD or OLED, has been mentioned. Now, the rumors have suggested it's going to go back to an LCD screen, what we used to have with the original base Switch. Hopefully we do get OLED, because that's just so much better. It is seriously night and day. If you haven't bought an OLED yet, I mean, I don't know if you should because this new Switch coming soon, but the OLED is way better looking. It actually is a big difference that I've noticed, and it's just a better console overall. So I'm really hoping that they go with the OLED screen. It's just clearer, it's smoother, it's a lot better. I do know if they do make the base model OLED, it's going to rise production cost, and it's going to make the console more expensive, so I get that part as well. But I wouldn't mind paying an extra $50 for an OLED version. You know, even if it's just a separate version that I can pay for, I would definitely go OLED. So yes, lots of information coming out today. And it's very interesting that all this is pouring out here at the end of April, because a lot of people are expecting something to happen in May or June, because May is Nintendo's investors meeting and they need to get out some information, because right now Nintendo is dead quiet. There's 2 games coming out this year, a remake and a remaster. It depends on what you see Luigi's Mansion 2 as. I still think it's a remaster. But yeah, there's 2 games coming out, and Nintendo needs to start talking about things. So maybe this is a sign that something's about to get announced soon. But I do want to circle back to what I said I was going to, and it's the reason why Nintendo could have internally delayed this thing. Remember, this was apparently supposed to come at the end of this year, and it'd been pushed back internally for some reason, and people are trying to figure out why that happened. Why was it pushed back to the beginning of next year? And one of the things that I thought of immediately is it has to do with games, and that's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Nintendo's trying to generate a really good launch lineup and a good year 1 set of games, and it makes sense if that's what they're doing, because I'm sure they're going to have a packed first year now, especially pushing this thing back. I mean, you still are due for a 3D Mario, Mario Kart, Metroid Prime 4, and I'm sure there's tons of other games outside of that that we're not even thinking of. But goodness gracious, Nintendo's secrecy with this console is just beyond anything that I've ever seen. I mean, seriously, they do not want anyone to see this thing, and they've just stayed completely hush about it, not even mentioning the fact that it exists in the first place, not even a code name or anything for this new console, which is just weird. It's about time Nintendo to open their mouths and talk about this thing, because at this rate, it just seems like every day people are going to slowly keep leaking information and information and information about this console, and everyone's tired of it. We're all tired of the rumors and the leaks and the stats and all the information about the console. We just want to hear it from Big N themselves. Please just announce the thing. So as we move into the month of May and eventually the month of June, I'm really hoping that we are coming up on that time frame for them to announce it, because if this is coming out at the beginning of next year, Nintendo is running out of time. They need to start getting games announced. They need to start getting the console announced. There's stuff that they have to talk about. So hopefully it's not too much longer before Nintendo opens their mouths and talks about this stuff. But what do you guys think about this? Do you actually think that Nintendo had the accessory manufacturers come into a room with an opaque box and actually put their hands in just to feel the new console instead of looking at it? Does that sound like something Nintendo would do? I know it does, so I don't know. I'm a little bit torn, but it's just so wild, it kind of makes sense to me. But thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you head out, and like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.